Hey, it's Makeover Monday, and today's healthy recipe remake is hot pepper jelly. This version is going to be paleo and pectin free, so let's get cooking. So this recipe only calls for about 6 ingredients, and the beautiful thing is that most of them you probably already have in your house, so it makes it super simple to prepare. So I have 2 different peppers here. You can use a mixture of red, green, yellow, whatever you like. And then I also have a jalapeno pepper. I have an apple, and this is what's going to replace the pectin. We're not going to leave this in the jelly, but it is going to create pectin without actually using a powdered pectin. Then I just have some dried chilies from my friend's garden because I really love them. I'm going to use them along with the jalapeno. You could also just use 2 jalapenos, or if you don't really like it spicy, just omit these second chilies altogether. I have some honey, which is what's going to make it paleo. This is local raw honey. If you use sugar, it's no longer paleo. So we're going to use a simpler sweetener. Then I have some raw apple cider vinegar. And that's it. So I'm going to get these peppers chopped and we're going to get to it. Okay, so I've got all of my ingredients chopped here. My peppers were actually so big, and by peppers I mean bell peppers, that I only used half of each because I got the amount that I wanted from half. So it's about half a cup that you want from each pepper. So I've got my yellow peppers, my green peppers, I've got about a 1/3 cup of jalapenos, and then my apple chopped up with the skin on, and I'm also going to use the core because I want all the pectin I can get. I've got a 1/3 cup of honey measured out, and then I also have half a cup of apple cider vinegar mixed with a 1/4 cup of water. I didn't use any of these chilies yet because jalapenos can either be really, really spicy or really, really mild. So I am going to test it as we go, and if I want more spice, I can add those chilies in, but I can't take them out. I also left the seeds in my jalapeno because I want it to be spicy, but if you are a mild person, you can absolutely take those seeds out. Also, I have a really fine dice on my peppers because I like a chunky jelly. I want the chunks of the pepper in there. So I'm not going to strain or puree it. But if you want a smooth, clear jelly, you can strain it out or puree it all at the end. And at that point, you wouldn't have to get a fine dice on your peppers. You could just kind of roughly chop them. So up to you. I like the chunks in my jelly. I think it makes it really pretty and vibrant as well with all the different colors. So now I'm going to bring you guys over to the stove with me, and we're going to get started. Okay, so now that we're over at the stove, I'm going to get all of these peppers into a small sauce pot. Now this is just a single batch. If you guys want to make multiple jars of this, then you could double, triple, quadruple this recipe, whatever you want. But I'm just going to use this small sauce pot because I'm just making one little baby jar. I like it to be fresh, and I don't like to deal with the whole canning and jarring and that whole process. So I'm just making a small batch. All right, so everything's in there, including the apple core. Then I'm just going to pour this water vinegar mixture over the top. It is perfectly covering my peppers. If it's not, add a little bit more water because you do want the peppers covered. So you can't really see, but it is perfectly covering my peppers. Now I am going to bring this to a boil, and then we will go from there.
All right, ladies and gents, we are boiling. This is a full rolling boil, which is what I want. Now I'm going to give it a stir to make sure all of those apples are incorporated in there. And then from here, I'm going to turn it down to medium heat. Medium high-ish, because I'm going to add in my honey, and I don't want to burn it. So I'm going down to medium high. And then once it gets there and I see that it starts to more simmer instead of boiling, that's when I'm going to add in my honey. Okay, so now you can see that it's just simmering. You can see the difference in the speed from before. I've got my 1/3 cup of honey that I'm going to add in here. You can use a little more depending on how sweet you like it, but I like a really nice balance. So from here, I'm going to get this all stirred up, and then I just want to keep it at a simmer. I'm going to turn it down to like medium low. I want to keep it at a simmer, and it could take up to an hour, honestly, guys, because we're not using pectin. So this is going to reduce and start to get thick and sticky like you want to see in a jelly. Now, because I did use a red apple, because that's what I had on hand, this may take a little longer. I recommend a green apple. Granny Smith apples have more pectin, than red apples do. So I'm just gonna let this sit. It's gotta come back to that simmer, and I'll show you guys some progress as we come along. Also, quick side note while this is cooking. As the chilies start to cook down, you can get a little bit of heat rising into the air. So if you've got a particularly spicy pepper, then the heat is gonna come up and it can start to kind of fill your house with some spiciness that'll irritate your eyes and your nose. So make sure that you're using your proper ventilation on your hood or your fan, whatever you have. I'm gonna put mine on medium just so that it's sucking up some of those pepper fumes so that my eyes don't burn. Okay, it's been 30 minutes that our jelly has been cooking, so I'm gonna give you guys a little update of what we're looking like here. So see how after 30 minutes, I don't know if you could tell, but it's starting to get a little bit more gelatinous. When I pull away from the edges, there's a little bit of gel happening. So it's thickening up, still not where I want it to be. I think it's probably gonna take a full hour here, guys, but I've been doing some other stuff while this is cooking, so this is just kind of set it and forget it. So don't get intimidated by the time. But we still are too liquidy for it to be jelly. So we're just gonna keep on trucking. Okay, so it's been about 45 to 50 minutes, and we're finally right about at the texture that I want. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but I'm trying to get up in here. Really, when I put it in the spoon, you can see that there's barely any liquid. Now, the liquid isn't really gelatinous yet, but you have to keep in mind that once you cool this is when it's really gonna become gelatinous. So almost all my liquid's gone, and it's just kind of this pepper base. And again, about 45, 50 minutes. And as it cools, it's going to get that jelly texture. So from here, I'm going to take out my apples. Now, they're gonna kind of smash when you take them out, and that's okay. Because if you get some of that apple pulp, that's fine. I just don't want the peels in there is really my main concern. The pulp's fine, because you can smash that up, and it's going to sweeten it a little bit too. I mean, it already has sweetened it because it's been cooking it, but as long as you get those peels out, we're okay, because that's not a fun texture to bite into when you are using this. So I'm gonna get these apple peels out, and then we're going to jar it up and chill it. Okay, so now that this is all done and I have all of my apples removed, I am going to fill this cute little jar. So all those peppers and all of that was gonna fit in this little baby jar. So I may have a little extra, but I'm gonna fill up this little baby jar, and then I wanna let it cool at room temperature before I put it in the fridge. I don't wanna shock it. And this is really great, guys. We're gonna use these on some BLTs that I'm gonna make for my in-laws tomorrow, but this is really great on eggs. It's really great on a charcuterie board with some meat and crackers. I live in the South now, so on some biscuits, gluten-free, of course. But this is really versatile. You can kind of put it on anything. It's got that really great sweet heat. And just so you know, I was taste testing it throughout the cooking process to make sure that it didn't need more sweet or more heat. And that one jalapeno with the seeds actually had a really good bit of spice to it. So I didn't need to add any of those chilies. I didn't need to add any more honey. Everything was kind of perfect. So here we go. We have pepper jelly. Spicy pepper jelly. And then it's gonna become more gelatinous as it cools. And it's gonna be delicious.